All right, so if you own a device for low-level laser therapy, or LLLT, you have probably waded through a total sea of conflicting advice on how to use it to get real hair growth. Today, we're going to cut right through all that noise and give you a clear, science-backed protocol.
So if you're using a laser cap, you're going to want to listen up. The results you're hoping for, they aren't just in the device itself, they're in the routine you follow. It's not about just having the tech, it's about using it with precision and, more importantly, consistency.
You know, our goal here is really simple, to take you from all that confusion to a clear, actionable plan. We're going to lay out a protocol that's actually based on evidence, so you can stop guessing and finally start a routine that's backed by real data.
So let's get right to it and build that new foundation, starting with your core weekly schedule. For now, I want you to just try and forget everything else you've heard online. This is your new starting protocol. So how often should you actually be using it? Well, the research points to a pretty clear answer. Just 2 times a week. I know, it might sound a little counterintuitive, right? Wouldn't more be better? Well, not necessarily. Your hair follicles actually need time to respond and recover. Using it every single day can lead to overstimulation and, believe it or not, diminishing returns. Consistency is so much more important than frequency here.
And for how long each time? Just 10 minutes. Again, the temptation is to do more, but we're starting low and slow for a very good reason. This whole approach is based on finding the lowest effective dose, making sure your follicles get just the right amount of light energy without getting totally overwhelmed.
Okay, so let's lock this in. Twice a week for 10 minutes each time. That's it. That is your simple, manageable, and effective starting point. Go ahead and commit that to memory because this foundation is exactly what we're going to build on over the next 6 months.
Right, because this isn't just a static plan. A smart protocol has to evolve. So let's look at your progression over the next 6 months and talk about how we're going to safely and effectively increase the intensity to really maximize your results.
Now, what's really cool about this is how it maps out your entire first 6 months. You start today at 10 minutes twice a week. You stick with that for 90 days, that's about 3 months. Then you make your first little increase. Just bump it up to 15 minutes, still twice a week. After another 90 days, you make your second and final increase to 20 minutes. It's a really clear step-by-step approach.
And this illustrates the end goal perfectly. Once you hit that 20-minute mark, what happens? Well, you just stay there. If you're seeing the growth you want, that becomes your new normal. That's your maintenance dose. See, the idea isn't to just increase forever. It's all about finding the lowest effective dose that works for you and then just sticking with it.
So you're probably wondering, okay, but why this specific schedule? It's not random, I promise. Let's actually look at what the research says, because understanding the why behind this protocol, well, that's crucial for trusting the process and actually sticking with it long term.
This is a fantastic comparison. You see so much advice out there pushing for daily use, but if you really dig into the recorded clinical studies for LLT and hair growth, there's just no real research to back that up. But what is supported? A frequency of 2 to 3 times per week. We're not guessing here, we are simply following the data.
And if we dig into the details of those studies, it's pretty revealing. The successful protocols were consistently 2 or 3 times a week, and, this is important, the lasers themselves were low intensity. A lot of the devices used in these studies had 80 diodes, those are the little light-emitting points in the cap, or even fewer. This just proves that you don't need overwhelming power, just the right amount applied consistently. Okay, we've covered the what, the how, and the why. So let's bring it all together and lock in the absolute keys to your success. These are your final, actionable takeaways to make this whole protocol work for you.
So here it is, your complete LLT action plan. First, just commit to that twice weekly schedule. You're going to start each session at just 10 minutes. Then, every 3 months, you'll increase that by 5 minutes until you hit a maximum of 20. For an extra boost, you can consider combining this with other proven growth stimulants. But above all, and this is the most critical part, you have to be consistent and patient. Seriously, think of this as a marathon, not a sprint.
You know, I think this quote just sums up the whole philosophy perfectly. Patience and protocol are the plan. There's no magic bullet here. The real magic is in committing to a structured, proven process and just giving it the time it needs to work. So that's it. The clear, evidence-based roadmap is right here in front of you. The only question left is, instead of just hoping for results, are you ready to actually commit to the routine that gets them?